I wish you guys the best with your Yum Yum podcast.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Rachel.
How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
No, I'm here.
Stop doing this. Every episode you take a big sigh and you're like, I'm here now. The Neil Breen film, I am here now. How are you, Rachel? You doing good?
Okay, Ryan, thanks for asking.
I think she's doing great, everyone, because you're excited to be here because we're at the end. And every time there's change or resolution, you get in a super happy mood, as we can all hear.
Oh, yes!
As we could all hear with our ears. What are we actually here at the end of, though?
We're here at the end of season 4 of Killjoys. And that doesn't weird me out as much as the fact that that we're recording this basically a year since the first episode of Killjoys coverage came out.
That's right. Been plugging away at this for a year and a bit now. So
And that makes me feel weird.
that's time. Time. It just comes at you from
But
nowhere.
it feels like I've been with these characters longer than that.
And shorter than that. Isn't that the crazy thing? This show, man, it sinks into you in a really unique way. And yes, we are here at the end of another season of a television show, and that means we're going to have a little recap, talk about things, go over the high points, low points, things that feel different now that we're here, and we can look back on what has been going on and look towards the future as well. And Rachel, we may as well just get into it. This was a traditional 10-episode season, as it is always with Killjoys. And what did you feel about season 4?
I feel weird looking back on this season because there are lots of moments that I really enjoyed. I liked the overall trajectory of the season, but I also feel annoyed at it because there are numerous points that really stick out to me of how it felt forced. What about you?
Forced in what way?
Well, it felt like they had an end point in mind, and then we've got to get to that end point, and then there's some moments where it feels like they're stepping back, but it feels like a regression, not a deliberate choice or homage to their history.
So season 4, for me, was interesting, to say the least, to revisit, since this is my first time ever rewatching, and this was your first time ever watching. Because season 2 and season 3 are real high points, and they really bleed into one another. And I remembered that. And season 4, I will reveal, I remembered only 2 things from the entire season, and that was Weege and Pippin, their stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was really interested to see why I did not really recall much from this season. And yet, here I am to say that I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining, engaging, and
I've said at multiple points that it feels like it would be more rewarding on a rewatch.
And I think the individual episodes are of a certain quality and a certain type of standard, but I do understand what you're saying in regards to the season as a whole has a little bit of bagginess. It's a bit shaggy in areas, and I don't know, in comparison to some of the other seasons, if this one holds up to scrutiny as much when you look at it in the big framework. There's like certain big questions I have that I feel like the season itself did not really give an answer to, but did in a way of what Killjoys has been guilty of before, which is if we just keep moving forward, you're not really going to think about that. If we catch you up in the whirlwind of plot, themes, and emotion, you aren't really going to pay attention to certain elements. And I do have that concern with season 4, but I did enjoy it. And I think a part of why this was harder to remember, and we can kind of discuss this over the course of this, is I felt it was in two halves, really. I felt like the first half was very, very structured, each episode went bang, 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 bang into the next one, but with a real lacking sense of what is the big game, what is the big thing that we're heading towards. Like we said in our previous discussions, season 3, you always had Dutch and Anila are going to face off. At the background of every episode, that was the thing moving us forward. Season 4, I just didn't feel that as much. As like, oh, we have to deal with
the anchor throughout the whole season, because it feels like even halves feels a bit wrong, because we have like that first chunk where Johnny is part Hullen.
Yes.
And then that gets dealt with before episode 5, doesn't it?
Yeah, episode 4.
And then we have like the middle chunk, and then we have once they go into the green.
I look at it as a part of it is the first 4 to 5 episodes. One of the big momentum pushing things is the pregnancy of Dulcea and her giving birth and all of the stuff regarding that. That's something that you're moving towards. Then we have the interlude episode, the 5th one, where it's a palate cleanser. And then the back half of the season is now Jack is here and people are after Jack, and we have fatherhood and parenthood stuff. But that's getting into weeds of things. Now, it seems like we both had a lot of affection for the season, but some reservations as well. And there is some interesting behind-the-scenes details that I thought would be worthy of sharing. Things that did not get mentioned at the start because I didn't want it to cloud the judgment for you when it came to the season.
No, I saw this in your breakdown and I was like, okay, there must be something worthwhile that was also specific to this season, because I feel like if it affected season 4 and 5, you wouldn't let me know yet.
And it's something that I'm curious if you already knew or not. So the big thing that we did know at the time when this was coming out, this was well known, is Michelle Lovretta stepped down as showrunner. She is still involved. She's a writer, producer, and Adam Barkin stepped up as showrunner for season 4 and 5.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that, but I felt that.
And from the sources at the time and, hearing from people today, it is very clear that there's no bad blood or anything. It was just Michelle Lovretta likes writing. Showrunning involves many other aspects of nuisance that you have to deal with, like approving this and that. And she just wants to write. So she stepped down, still involved in the series, and Adam Barkin, who has been the most reliable writer outside of Michelle, stepped up. And it makes a lot of sense. And if you are a fan and if you're paying attention to who is involved, this is the guy that you'd want to step up. You don't want a new person. I can't think of any.
Not at this point, no.
The only other person I could think of, you may have wanted is Julian, because he's a script supervisor and he's been there plugging away.
He could oversee it.
But Adam Barkin steps up. And there are some other things behind the scenes wise. Budget much lower. The episodes' budgets were much lower, and that means they had to work around that. Hence, episodes were in some confined locations, like a few episodes just in Lucy, for instance, or reused sets, or just the quarry. And we commented on this, but I did not realize until hearing more about it, is because of that meant some of the episodes were structured as two-part stories, which we felt when we were watching.
Yeah.
Especially in the first half, where it's like, oh, this feels
this and this.
And that comes from budgetary constraints and having to work with that in mind, which I don't take as a negative. I think that is actually one of those creative challenges that was, in my opinion, one of the successes of the season. I like the unofficial kind of 2-3 part stories in this.
Yeah.
It gave like a sense of pacing, but I thought you would be keen to know that as well, because that does change the feeling of what this season is like in comparison to the previous 3.
It feels like it gives validity to some of the niggling things that I had with this season. And, it makes me a little bit fonder of them reusing the shot of the storage container in the quarry.
No, they needed another one. They needed more shots. Sorry.
My plan is to take enough green to go full Holland. Get off this rock and have me some real fun.
Come on, Jacoby. Think you can finally kick my ass now that you're Holland?
So, let's dive on into the things that we really liked. Some of our favorite moments of the season. Rachel, I'm keen to know, what were some of your faves?
Oh, this is I found it difficult. And it was a little bit of a weird one to think back on, because I'm finding it difficult, increasingly difficult, to be like, that was from this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're 4 deep, and the show has become increasingly serialized.
Yes, it has.
So I really had to go into my notes and be like, was that this season? Was this not this season? So I'm going to start with the one where I was like, it's in a more recent episode, and one that it took me by surprise and left me satisfied. And that is Porter's return.
Mm-hmm.
Because it brings her back in a way that doesn't taint the original moment.
No, it doesn't take away. It still leans into the tragedy of it.
If anything, it adds to it, because you know that Johnny's going to have to deal with the temptation and feeling like he has the chance to do it over again and do it right, and that he has to walk away from that opportunity because it's not real.
And something, for speaking purely for myself, that is a huge challenge is, on my initial watch, I hated Dulcea. She killed my favorite character, and I did have contempt for the show for what I felt was indulging in the character and liking her too much. Like, the show likes her. Like, the show likes writing for her. They like making her slay, girl boss, badass bitch. But on this rewatch, I'm really challenged by the fact that that isn't true. Like, this moment, they don't shy away from reminding you and showing you that she killed Potter. Like, she put the knife in and she was a cold bitch about it. And in another show's hands, if they were really leaning into that thing that I felt the first time, they wouldn't give you that. They would try to obfuscate that, or try to
They would rework it. They would have a look in her eyes, or a moment of hesitation.
Or just cut to Johnny with Potter on the floor and not show the stab moment. Just cut to that moment. But season 4 did have many beats in which they remind you and really challenge the fact that Dulcea's still a bad person, but she's also a human again. And so you have to really reconcile with that. In terms of that too, one of my favorite choices they made was Potter's image still bleeding from her chest as she's trying to tempt Johnny to stay.
Yes. It's unsettling, but not completely obvious.
In relation to later parts of the show, one of my favorite moments was Pippin and Zeph taking their time to get to know each other. Zeph giving her background and feeling defensive of it, and Pippin explaining his position, and they are mature. They understand each other. They take the time.
Meet me in the middle.
Meet me in the middle. It's one of the healthiest relationships in the show, hence it's damned. But I liked that. I liked that their relationship, on another way of playing it, could have been fueled by contentious drama. Oh, Pippin's a spy. He's got a thing in his brain, the guilt of not being able to save him. All of that is clearly there, but when it came to just showing us them as a couple, it just lived in those small, quiet moments, and obviously had the bombastic things of them like having silly, fun times and sex and all of that, but I really liked that conversation and just the approach they took.
The other reason why I'm like, oh, what were my favorite moments is that they are also some of the biggest surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, oh shit, they did that. But I think an element that I really want to take a moment to highlight is how good the brother relationship is this season. Obviously, we get Broad Trip.
Where it gets challenged.
And we get them visiting their dad.
Oh, yeah, later on, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to the brother relationship.
The humor is just really enjoyable. Like, that sense of... there's elements of only I get to do that because he's my brother. And the way that they niggle at each other that feels very genuine to my relationship with my siblings as well.
I think the best moment, my favorite moment, and really not just a standout of this season, but it's one of the best scenes of the show because it really encapsulates what this series is about, is Davin confronting Dutch about almost making his son a killer and training him to be a monster and the cycles of abuse and just confronting the fact that Klein was an abuser. And yet we have to reconcile the fact that he matters, that we're following all of these things that Klein has left behind. Is this a case of ends justify the means? And the show says no. And Davin says
it doesn't make it okay. And just because it's understandable doesn't make it good.
And it just is a hard-hitting scene. It's one in which Dutch is shown to be a bad person, and she's rightfully called out, and the show...
the monster that she fears that she is.
And that it shows us that Dutch is aware that she is a victim of abuse, but she has regressed in this moment. She needs it to matter. She needs it to make sense. And unfortunately, she almost carried out the cycle again onto someone else. And that's a very tricky thing to do, especially for your main character who we're supposed to like. But that's the thing about Killjoys is our main characters, especially Dutch, have reprehensible aspects about them as people. And they don't shy away from that this season at all.
No. Everybody's your problematic fave in Killjoys.
We are not through.
Don't villains blame me, honey. I'm the master.
One of my least favorite things about the season was just the lack of Fancy Lee. especially after last season. He was given so much great material and they really underutilized him this season. It's not a specific moment, but it's a choice. It's an aspect here that I really felt, especially when it came to saving the children.
We went in two different directions there.
Oh, okay. First off, it's especially frustrating because the kidnapping of the children story starts with Garrett and Fancy. And then it progresses with Pre and Fancy, and then Fancy is gone. And he's not there for the resolution of that story. He's paired up with Davin doing something else. And his forensic CSI approach was helpful, but to a limited end. And if he was more present in the season, that would have been more of a through line for him. And they teased it. They gave you the illusion that this is going to be Fancy's story in part, and then it isn't. And then it's not replaced with anything for him.
No, Fancy never gets to be a proper character in the way that we want him to be.
Oh, the way he was, which is the real frustration. But that was just something choice-wise. But did you have any things in this season that just did not sit well with you?
I will also add to that it was disappointing that we didn't get Fancy's perspective on Weege really at all. That feels like a big waste.
Missed opportunity. Weege is great.
Yeah.
He's one of the other aspects of the season that I remembered. And he is wonderful, but his existence brings about a perspective that's needing to be interrogated, which is Fancy Lee's perspective.
It's weird to try and describe it, but there were multiple points where I was like, I get why, but it feels like you just had the end in mind. And I'm like, is it Greening Pain's subplot with the assassin? It was like they have
Babyface Killer.
Thank you. In Babyface Killer, like they have an idea of where they want to get to with the assassin. So these other things happen so that can happen. And it feels a little bit like that. I can't remember what episode, and if I guessed, I would probably be wrong again. With Dutch making her way to Yelena.
Yeah, oh mother art thou. Yeah, like it's one in which the assassin of the week shouldn't just be some random guy. They should matter to a future storyline. So let's join them up to this future storyline we already have in mind. But also, he's a reference to Blade Runner, even though that doesn't match up with what we do with the place he comes from as much. It's the other thing that really rubbed me raw about the season, and I guess this could be a part of the budgetary constraints, but I also think it is going into that two halves of the show sensation of the season, is characters being absent when they shouldn't be. Fancy Lee, we already said, but Dulcea is a huge example where she gives birth and then she's immediately gone, and it's
she takes a nap and then she walks away.
And there's not a good payoff to that. It's just, she went to red like this red base and she found the spore information too. It was like, okay.
Investigating.
And then we dump Jack onto her at the end anyway, and it's not particularly satisfying. There's a few instances of that in which a character has been removed from us, and it doesn't feel like there's a real rhyme or reason other than the script cannot afford to have them in this moment, so we must push them away. And the fact that you can feel that is the disappointing factor as well, because it's not just, I like this character, I want them around more. It's perplexing to me that in a season dealing with parenthood, the two mothers of the child just aren't here, really.
Yeah, but it does bring about one of my favorite parts of this season, which is Davin as a dad. Like, all of the stuff with him and him reckoning with who he is, who he wants to be as a father, who his father was, how best to go about protecting his son while also not leaving him vulnerable. Because it's just like he recognizes that Jack will be in danger and needs to have an ability to defend himself. But what that looks like and where that positions him is a real struggle for Davin. Because he wants to keep Jack out of it and he can't. And that makes him feel like a failure and it hurts his heart.
But he also steps up in a lot of ways in the season, Davin, especially when it comes to his father role. Like, everyone kind of underestimates how serious this is for him. Dutch has her kind of poisonous view on it. We have Delsea just blows him off and treats it like a joke, and Johnny to an extent does as well. But we see that it truly matters to him, and he just keeps trying to do his best. Given the circumstances, he's spectacular. And I must admit that one of the push and pulls of this,
and Luke does an amazing job at those moments.
Oh yeah, there's so many great scenes of
balancing
acting from him.
Of the heart and the humor in those moments is just beautiful.
Because they've really moved away from the position Davin was at the beginning, where he's the ultra macho soldier boy. He does the guns type stuff. And they've leaned into the sensitive side of him, the mature side of him. There's so many conversations from Davin this season about toxic masculinity and what it is to be not a man but a person, and what is honor, what is leadership, all of these things. And it's just done.
Who is a hero?
What is being a hero is brought up time and time again this season, and Davin has many interesting points of view on it. And Luke McFarlane's acting, wonderful. What I was going to say about his fatherhood stuff is there's a push and pull, because he steps away with Jack. They come back, and Dutch and Davin have this truly bizarre conversation, probably my least favorite in the season, in which Dutch is all, "Oh, I'm too broken for you. You shouldn't have gone away." And they kiss at the end of it, and they literally kiss and make up.
What?
And
nothing.
It was just
that moment annoys me so much, because it's like, what has changed? Nothing's changed. It's just further along, and you just want them back together.
I understood it from his point of view, but the way she articulated herself, I could not sympathize with her. And the way that she was handling it, it felt very selfish to me. And the show sided with her a bit more than I would have wanted it to. And it does not diminish the previous conversation that I praised. That still stands up, but it really boggled my mind. And when we did our reaction, I did pause and just went, look, we have relationship fights. This is a given, but this is one in which I just had to put my flag on the ground and say, she's wrong. Fuck Dutch. And the show's like, nah, it's all right. They kiss and make up. It's fine. And I'm just like, I think they let her off too lightly.
They're dealing with how messy Dutch is, and then just one wipe and it's gone.
You know, this is probably the most adult conversation I've ever had.
I keep on going back to it. It's hard to pass. It's hard to go like, this is the best, this is the worst. Because even the episodes that I was like, oh god, this is fucking great, still had moments that held me back in one way or another. So I'm really keen to hear what your favorite episode was, and what episode you think was the best of season 4.
When you say there were elements that would hold you back, what does that entail in your mind? Especially in regards to what you led with. It felt like serialization, right? It's this tough thing with serialized TV in which you can have a great episode, but there are handful
It has to service this.
there are a handful of moments or scenes that are dedicated to stuff that really doesn't matter in that episode. And some of the best serialized TV episodes are the ones where everything comes together and can crescendo and can be self-contained, yet we're still pushing forward an ongoing narrative. And this season didn't have as many of those as it used to in this series. Yet, I still really liked What to Expect When You're Expecting an Alien Parasite. The one that should have just been a bottle episode of them stuck on a ship while Dulce is giving birth to a baby that's killing her because she's also healing. Just the premise of that is memorable, but I thought the execution of it was well done. I liked all of the character work. I liked just how things came to a head. Johnny being part Hullen, Dutch returning from the green with a new perspective, but also unsure of herself. Even Lucy had some moments in that episode, getting a bit of character development for Zeph and Pippin. Just really great stuff in that episode, and I thought it all snapped into place. The other that's a contender for me is The Kids Are All Right.
Which
just
is
that
my pick.
Which is one I'm shocked to hear. Okay, I'm shocked to hear that's your pick because you were so down on it, yet you liked it in the end in our discussion. So please tell me why that one comes up above the rest.
So, a huge part of it is Pippin's death. Because him sacrificing himself, that the end of that character journey, being like a little bit more removed from it, I can appreciate it in a different way. And now having the conclusion of the season as well, those things that I had more of a problem with when we were talking about it, my perspective on those things have changed. Namely, how easy it was to get the kids off the rack.
Because there's a long-term payoff for that.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate the moments that it gave with those characters in that episode and how it sets up these ideas in that are and how it sets up ideas that are followed through in the finale as well.
The Kids All Right has some problems as an episode. There's a whole cult plot in there. However, Pippin and Zeph, their story that has been part of the season as a whole, but just even within this singular episode, is so well told and well realized. Each moment with them in the episode is informing us on something, whether it is about them as individual characters or them as a couple.
And the world, like it's...
Yeah, there's world building with it as well, but you're not bogged down by like the sci-fi world building nonsense that you can get in these shows. No, you are just in their relationship, you're in there with them, and even though...
Because it's about them as people.
Yeah, and even though you could see the tragic outcome at the end of it,
The writing was on the wall.
The writing was on the wall, but it was done in a way where it was truthful storytelling. It's not pulling its punches. You knew that this man was doomed, but how was he going to face his end? And how was it going to affect not only Zeph and the other characters, but us, the audience? And that's why this episode is one of the best of the season, because if you put in the work to the character stuff, and then you have an episode with a big characterful thing in it, it itself can be one of the best episodes of the show, even if there's some fluff and crap in the episode. And I reference that because we have covered a few sci-fi shows, but obviously modern Star Trek is the great example in which we're starved for good character stuff. And then they play their hand at the end of the season with all of this character stuff like, you see? we're cashing it in. It's like, yeah, but you didn't put anything on the table beforehand. You're cashing in nothing. This season put all of the work in when it came to that. And so when we got to this episode, it all paid off. And that's why it's also one of the best.
Ryan, I want you to tell me what you think my least favorite episode was.
That's unfair. That's unfair. That's mean. It's cruel. It's evil to do that because there's objectively only one answer.
I know. So tell me.
It takes a pillage. It takes a pillage is my answer. If it's not yours, I'm going to be surprised.
No, it is. That episode, was it the only yum I gave this season?
I don't think so, because we didn't like Babyface Killer as much either.
Yeah, it was one of very few yums that either of us gave out.
Isn't that crazy, though? We have some issues with the season as a whole, but I wonder if we look at the numbers, this is probably the highest episode average of ones that we've given a thumbs up to, a yum yum to.
Maybe.
But it takes a pillage. This episode, oh boy.
Stinky!
But it has great stuff in there. That's the annoying thing about it. It's annoying when a bad episode has...
Delivery is so important.
Yeah, what you're focusing on is important. Because It Takes a Pillage is the episode in which what happens? How would you define this episode?
Oh, God, it's one of those episodes where it feels simple, but it doesn't.
It should just be the Jacobys go back home and face their generational trauma. That's what it should be.
But
that's all it needs to be. But it's also Dutch's having an incident on Lucy with Zeph as a hologram.
Yeah, and is Dulcea?
No. It's just those two things. This episode should be simple. It should just be the Jacobys go back home and face their generational trauma. That's all it needs to be. But no. We have to have Dutch on the ship dealing with a hologram.
There's
Zeph.
that, and then there's these people, and then there's Johnny's ex.
Yeah, don't forget Freddie
Crush.
Lowndes from Hannibal.
Yeah, so I was it felt wrong to say they go back home and Zeph's a hologram, but those things are true, but it doesn't feel like it captures the episode enough.
Let's crystalline our opinions on this, because I feel like we're very heightened, because this episode is frustrating beyond belief because it misses what the heart of the story is. And it's right there. It's right there. You just need it to be Davin, Johnny, Jack, and the
dad,
the patriarch, stuck underground, dealing with each other, and then Hullins as well. That's all you need to do. And why it works us up is because, no, we've got to cut over here, we've got to do this. Oh, no, we've got to introduce this completely useless side character to liven up the drama of the Jacoby family stuff. It's like, no, you don't. You don't need to do that. And so why I say it's pretty objective is because this is probably the episode of Killjoys that I say is guilty of missing the point.
Yeah. That's very fair. And it just keeps on going and more. When it's like, no, you don't need that. And I was really hoping to get more of a feeling about their mum in this episode, and they don't go there much.
That wasn't your money.
Listen, Dad, what the hell's going on, huh? You go AWOL? Because that is not how I raised you.
You didn't raise me. Mom did.
Okay, look, I know we had our problems.
No, we had one problem. You.
We have a large ensemble, Rachel. We have guest characters, minor characters. We have so many characters in Killjoys to keep track of. And I do not find it difficult to say who are my favorites and who really stood out this season. And I am curious to know what you feel in regards to that. Were there any people in the season that you really gravitated towards, or you think that the season did a great deal for?
Zeph. Zeph rises to the top for Team Awesome Force. She was the one that I kept on going back to when I thought about this season, even though there's not a lot that happens with her in terms she's not here so much more or so much less, but all of the moments that she gets is they're impactful. And I was like, can I say that my favorite is not one of the trio? That feels wrong.
She's a member of the team.
She's a member of the team, but she's not part of the trio.
No, but she's firmly established herself as the other member of Team Awesome Force. Why do you feel like it's such a change up for her this season? Like, what's different? Because she was also a firmly established member of the team last season, even though she was freshly introduced.
True. I think I enjoy the way that she interacts with everybody else. Her relationship with Pippin and their dynamic is a type of relationship that I really enjoy. And I am really satisfied with how that plays out, even though it does make me sad.
Zeph is great. She's amazing. She is one of my favorite characters of the series. But for me, one of my favorite characters of the season was Pippin. I love that performance. I love that archetype. But what they do with him is even better. Like, they could have just remained having him be the comedic relief, smart aleck criminal guy that they have in the team, who's selfish yet selfless, has a heart of gold. But they deepen him. They make him more emotionally mature. And the relationship stuff is the key to it all. Like, I think it goes both ways with Zeph and Pippin in terms of making them feel more fully fledged as characters. Is their romantic entanglement gives them motivation that we relate to more than what they started out as, which is fun character archetypes.
They get to be more than that. And that's a part of what helps them rise to the top, at least for me, is that evolution.
And the other person I had in mind, and I think really got some of the best character work they've been given in the entire series, is Davin. Davin becoming a dad may be the smartest choice that they have made with his character. Because we know that underneath his brash, bravado nature, he has a genuine connection and understanding of children. You think back to the schooled episode.
And the surrogates.
Yeah, it's been there from the start, but they really are pulling on it. And now we have a fully fledged, not just story, but it's really redefined his character. It's truly changed his character. It delves into this new status quo that the season is putting forth, which is there's a kid now. That changes everything.
How do you feel about Jack?
How do you feel about Jack?
I asked you first.
Yeah, but you're the first-time viewer, so I know more about Jack.
How do you feel about Jack this season?
He's good. It's more about what he does for the other characters than him as a character himself. I don't say that as a negative thing. I think that's necessary. That him existing is there to show us what it does to the people we know.
And that is the way the characters have continually been introduced into Killjoys. That was what Zeph was.
So how do you feel about him?
I don't quite know how I feel about him because he hasn't gotten to be his own person fully yet. And I really enjoy the way that the show explores that and deals with that, in particular the stretch where he's figuring out what he wants his name to be.
This season plays around with that a lot, though. People who are newly formed or finding themselves, and are they their own being or are they an extension of something else? We have Weege as the other example of that, where Weege gets a name, Weege starts to get a personality, Weege starts to contribute to things, but is he a person? Is he an enemy? Is he a weapon? Is he a thing? And Jack was also treated like that. He's like a commodity, Jack.
Yeah, but I weirdly feel like they continue to deal with the, was it ethical that Weege was made?
Mm-hmm.
More than the ethics around Jack's conception.
Jax is played a little bit more fast and loose because the parents involved are happy. Like, each one of them are happy that he exists, even if he brings about this danger to the universe at large. But Jack himself, since he's so new and he doesn't understand anything, he doesn't have any opinions on it himself. So that's harder. While Weege, like, we saw him get created and there was the Star Trek ethical dilemma conversation that then got blown off, and then we got to sit and linger with it. So that's why it kind of sustains in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, the conception of Weege brought about these questions to us straight off the bat. While with Jack, it was very different in that way.
Yeah.
Like, you're never questioning if Jack existing is a good thing. You know it brings trouble, but you're not like, oh, this kid shouldn't be alive. But with Weege, you're like, I don't know, man. Should you be using this as a thing at all? Should you?
Yeah, don't know. Love Weege, but don't know.
Who were some characters that just didn't work for you this season?
I found it really hard to answer this question because, like, Turn is a fucktwit.
But he had such great character development.
Exactly.
This is his best season.
Yes. So I'm like, I can't go with him. I've often had him at the bottom of my list, but no. And then Zeph is amazing. I feel like Johnny kind of gets the least to do this season.
They front load him.
Mm.
The Hull and Johnny stuff. They really delved into his character there.
Yeah, but that feels so long ago now.
Well, I don't know. Like, something that I liked about Johnny this season was loneliness. And feeling out of place.
See, you already... I'm like, oh, well, like somebody's got to fall to the bottom and he's lower. Like, Davin is really high. Dutch... yes and no. Like, she's got things, but it's also like I didn't enjoy her regression, even if it does make sense.
Mine's Dulcea. Mine's Dulcea.
She just doesn't get anything.
She gets nothing to do, and she should have had the most to do, especially with where we were with her previously. She starts out getting stuff, but even then, I would have liked more. It's not to say I don't like the character, but I'll put it as simply as this. In my favorite episode of the season, the end of it for her is she's human again. And I don't really feel like we explored that. But we're promised that with the ending of her character in that episode and how she reacts to it. But do you feel like you really got to see her struggle or change in terms of being this immortal god being too human? No.
What do you feel?
Everything. And I hate every single minute of it.
I just want to run some tests.
Get your hands off of me, dirty veterinarian.
this season had a lot of twists and turns, lots of big choices made, big things were thrown at us, and I have a hard time, obviously, as someone revisiting the show, what are the big surprises of the season, but something I already said is the big surprise of the season is just how well making Davin a dad works. Like, that's one of those things that, again, I remember from the show, but I was really moved by it.
Same. I wasn't expecting it to work as well and be something that matters in the way that it does going forward as well.
Another big surprise moment, because I also just, my brain scrubbed this, but Big Joe returning in the first episode of the season, in our flashback episode, just, he was so well done. That actor nailed it, and the writing, living in the realm of, let's see Big Joe at, in quotations, the height of his power, really hammered home how good the first episode he was in is. It just, that episode had so much to do, and Big Joe, I felt when we watched it, was underserved, and this feels like oh, let's do a redemption to Big Joe. Like, there was something to him there, but we didn't serve that character as well as we could have, and now we're 4 seasons in, we're in a certain rhythm, let's do it again, and I think they succeeded.
Agreed.
But what were some of the big surprises and elements of the season for you?
Well, I already mentioned one, which is that Porter coming back was a good thing in the end. Like, it worked. It served the show. It didn't feel like a, look what we did. You weren't expecting to see her face again. And the other one that I noted down, other than Dad Dav, is that the green might actually have been destroyed. I wasn't expecting that to happen before the end of the show.
Getting rid of...
And what does that mean for the Hullen?
Yeah, there's a lot of big questions up in the air of what that could mean for us going forward. Some of the elements that I'm just still musing on and trying to just, I don't know, figure out. Why did the green go solid? I don't really feel like we got a satisfactory answer for that in this season, and I don't think we will in the future of the show. I'm not telling you that we won't, I just don't recall, but like, in this season, it feels like that should have been something more concrete in an answer by the end of it. Like, Dutch leaving the green makes it solid? Why? Do you know? Am I missing something?
No, I don't know. I'm like, is it just because she's the way that she left? Because she didn't do the resonance the way that Anila does, so it affected the green in that way?
Yeah, it just feels like we had to have a big status quo shake-up and get into the certain plot points, but it doesn't. I don't feel like there's been a follow-through on that. It just is we need this thing to happen, so let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And if we just keep plowing forward and then destroy the green, you're not really going to question, like, oh, well, now it's been destroyed, but it's like, it's been destroyed in part because of the spore that was introduced, so I'm not too sure. And the other thing that I'm really wanting to nail down now that we're at the end of it is, how do you feel about the Yelena aspect of the season?
I did not really like it much. I get it, but it also just feels so convenient. Because it makes sense that they're going to actually have to deal with her. And her being the face of the assassin and Klein leading them to her. Like, it's one of those things where it makes sense. but I don't feel any particular way about it, and I feel like I really should.
How does it make you feel about Klein? And is it a good thing, or does it detract from what we've understood about him previously? Because that's what it's there to do as well. Like, now here's another piece of the Klein puzzle.
Yeah, but it also just feels... it feels hollow in a way. Because it's like, well, here's the justification. Here's why it was like this. And it was a question that the show was hinting at for a really long time, and I do not feel like it was worth the wait.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the way to go about this. I think the aspect of it is, did you feel like you were lacking understanding of why Klein was doing the things he was doing?
No.
Exactly. This just feels like putting a hat on a hat. I don't mind it, actually. I actually think it works. I think it answers why he doesn't just kill Anila outside of it's like his daughter. I don't mind it. I think the performances were really good, but I was already satisfied with the level of humanizing Klein that we've done, and this just feels like, oh, and he, you know, there's another person he loved that pushed him to do this.
One of the parts that annoyed me the most was the she can outsmart Klein. That's how smart she is.
I don't know. I think that was good, actually. I think that Klein charms and fools everyone, but there's one person, the one who actually loves him, that can see, but also isn't enamored by him, that can see through him. I think that's great.
She could tell that something was wrong so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciated that, but they're like the showiness of that moment I didn't appreciate.
No, I'll disagree with you. I think that it was more subtle than showy. I liked that. But yes, this is just an element of the season that is set up at the beginning, and there's a little bit of a mystery towards it. But I don't oppose them answering and following up on the idea of what happened to the mother. There has to have been a mother. And she's still there. We could revisit her as well. Like, that character's still in play. So that's something to take in. Now, the season had a lot of high points and a lot of low points. One of the high points was someone got kicked in the genitals. You were happy. You were very happy. Someone got kicked in the balls.
Yes.
I, on the other hand, was very disappointed, Rachel, at the lack of what?
Bitch.
This show uses it a lot, doesn't it?
Not much this season.
Now, to put this into context, which we love, don't we, Rachel? We love context.
It's for kings.
It is for kings. Killjoys, in every script almost, uses the word bitch. And it's increased with each season. And
until now.
At the end of season 3, we had so many. It was quite ludicrous. We had 34 in the season overall. And in this season, they dialed it down. And I'm disappointed by that. I don't know if it's the case of we just don't need to do it anymore. We're more mature now. Because this season felt a lot more mature to me.
Is it because Michelle left?
Yeah, maybe Michelle leaving and Adam's like, look, I'm a guy. Maybe I can't be dropping bitches all of the time. I'll drop dicks instead. There's a lot more dicks in this season. Now, how many do you think we got in this particular season? How many bitches do you think was said?
18.
18?
Yeah.
18's not a bad guess. So, we actually have a repeat. This season is the same as season 1. 21 uses of bitch.
I am happy with how close I was.
Yeah. And you know what? Considering that's not that few, that's still a good amount. Now, who do you think...
It's averages out to almost 2 an episode.
So who do you think in the season used the most?
Pre.
Interesting. And
He was just the first one that came to mind because I
you're always
remember there
thinking
were
of him.
like I feel like he got at least like a couple when he was dealing with Del Sayer.
He got a couple when he was dealing with Lucy when she was in security mode. So, funny thing, Pre is not the answer, but he is tied second place.
Oh, again, I'm happy enough with my results.
Do you want to guess again who got first, or do you want to guess who tied with him?
Ooh. Nah, tell me.
So, Dutch tied with him. 4 bitches is the amount that they both had in the season. But number 1, I'm shocked that you haven't guessed it. It's Johnny, of course. Remember he became Hullen Johnny? There was so many bitches coming out of his mouth. 7.
What?
7 bitches. Isn't that crazy?
Almost double.
Almost double trouble. That is season 4 in a nutshell. Anything else you want to talk about, highlight, mention, or just bring up as things that linger with you or stood out?
I feel like the editing of this season overall did feel a little different. And it feels more grown up. They're clearly diverged away from the pop song over action scenes vibe.
Which will lead one of those assholes to hit the silent alarm, leaving Mr. Craven to go to a safe room where we will be waiting for him.
At which point we grab him for some sweet, sweet scientific solutions.
All you have to do is stand lookout outside the shop.
This is a season that's still funny, but I didn't feel it was as funny as previous seasons. So it was harder to get a yum-yum laugh, but I know what mine is. But did you have a yum-yum laugh that leapt out, or did you have to think about it real hard?
I had to think back. I had to look through my notes and be like, wait, what did I give yum-yum laughs to?
I thought it would be your assassin handshake hello thing. You lost your mind at that.
Oh, yeah, like that. But that also felt different because that was a laugh at it.
Yeah.
And that feels like a slightly different category of yum-yum. You know, also the joy of actually getting a nut shot and be like having to rewind and be like, wait, was that actually one? Was also a highlight.
You did cheer.
Once, and I was like looking back, I was like, oh god, those were good. So someone likes my poo face now was a good one from Davin. Johnny getting called out by his dad for drinking and flying around the galaxy was
very good.
Was very good. Eerie whispering.
Oh, that was another one you laughed at.
Yeah.
You need to expand upon eerie whispering, Rachel.
So, when Pippin is being affected by the spider in his brain, but we don't exactly know how. We are just dealing with, like, you know, him hearing voices. The subtitles came up with eerie whispering.
Pretty good.
And anybody got a mint is the last one that I noted down.
Oh, when Johnny broke his own neck?
Yeah.
Mine is all from Greening Pains. It's the sequence in which they describe their little heist and we get to see it play out. Davin smiling and we get a snap zoom on him. Dutch and Johnny kidnapping the guy and then giving a thumbs up and wink to camera. It's so good. And again, why it's so good is it's sparing. The season has its silly moments, but those type have not been in the show before, and they only used it in that, and that was it. It was the right level and the right placement of it. I really, really loved it. It's probably just the image of
I
them
appreciated it too.
recreating it again, because Davin should be wearing glasses during it. That was also another element of it. And just Pippin not having it. He's like, I've got to leave. I can't do this. This is going to kill us. I'm going to leave now. And they're like, but you didn't hear this element of it. And then them having to rewind and do an element of it. That was so fucking funny. And the direction, all of it came together. I had a big grin on my face. It was so good. That's one of the funniest things the show has ever done. And really, really great. And just a little shout out, Fancy getting shots. And Davin just walking away, and then lingering on Fancy face down in the street as children skip by him.
I did also have the Dav cheating.
Yeah.
That was my recollection of it.
And Weege being our guy, being the guy. God damn it!
Absolutely.
The Turin impression, flawless. But now, Rachel, you have the hard thing to do here. You have to tell us what you think the future of the series has. Do you want to talk about what you think will be happening in premiere first, or do you want to tell us what you think will be happening in the 5th season overall?
I just did notes for the season. That was what came to my mind when it was what are my predictions?
Okay.
What do I think is going to happen overall next season? And within that sort of framework, what do I think the show is going to do before it's over?
Okay.
So, what did I have down? I had that they'll break free of the lady's mind control by the midpoint of the season.
So you think we'll have a few episodes of them?
Yeah, I think it will be one by one, they kind of get released from it. Dutch will die before the end of the show, and so will Anila.
Permanently or just momentarily?
I think both of them will die, but I think at least one of them will be permanently dead.
Okay.
I think Jack will be responsible for saving them all, and to do that, he needs to use what Davin, Dutch, and Johnny have taught him.
Okay, all those skills. He's also got his future sight.
Yes, but I think he's going to be able to utilize that properly because of the three of them.
He's also with Dulcea now.
Mm-hmm. I think Klein will be proven right.
In what way?
In the fact, in that he didn't kill Anila, that he didn't kill Dutch, that they need each other, that it's only together that they can bring down the lady.
Okay.
I think all of those things, and probably some other shit that will be introduced to and delivered on in the season as well. I think Anila will have escaped. I don't know where she'll be, but I don't think she died in the green.
Do you think it's just her?
I think it is just her.
Okay.
You say that, and now I'm like, well, maybe Klein did kind of get out. Maybe she could pull him out, but no. I'm going to stick with my original thought, and that's just that Klein's gone now. Anila managed to escape. I think there is going to be an epilogue with a time jump, and I don't know if that's going to be the final scenes of the show or part of the final episodes.
What do you think that would entail?
I don't know yet, but that's just that's a convention of the end of shows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's going to be a part of it.
Okay.
I hope that it involves Pri and Garrett having some kids of their own.
Nice.
Because I want them to stay together. If either of them fucking die, I am going to be super fucking pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think during next season, we'll get to see the impact of losing the rack as a system on the quad, because we've lost multiple racks. We've lost we've recently lost another one. The Killjoys do not have the pull that they used to have.
Maybe a new system needs to be made.
Yes, and I think that is going to be a part of it as well, of like, how do we rebuild this for the future?
I'm going to do the worst thing to you right now. How do you think it will end for our other characters? So you think you potentially put Dutch dies. That's just what you've put, or Neela. But what about Johnny? What about Davin? Where are their endpoints for you at this moment in time in your mind?
I think Davin, permanent.
Mm-hmm.
I think Johnny... Oh, what are they going to do with it? Johnny will suffer.
Whoa, what? Whoa. Rachel, how could you say that?
Because he always suffers.
Yeah, that's right. He always suffers. Hey, you know what? Something, newsflash, news
It's a
alert,
cop-out.
news alert, guys. We didn't mention it at all during our podcast discussions, but you could see it in our season finale reaction, which can be found in full on Patreon or edited down on YouTube. But confirmed, Aaron Ashmore's chest hair was trimmed and shaved. We've been keeping an eye on it. In the first season, hairy. Fully hairy. And then
Bit loose for use.
they trimmed him. We've been both keeping an eye, and they've trimmed him. We saw it at the end of the season finale. And so my prediction, even though I know how the show ends, is Johnny will get to grow that chest hair out by the end of the show. That's my big prediction. We'll keep an eye on it. But you mentioned the lady. You mentioned they'll bring her down. Anything floating around of what that conflict will look like?
I don't know. I do wonder if she's going to get trapped in her own memory somehow.
Interesting. She's in the body of a child, we see at the very end.
I do wonder what is the time span of season 5 as well. Like, I feel like it would feel disingenuous. It's not quite the right word, but it's getting at what I mean. If it is just like in 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is released and the lady is defeated.
And last thing here to get in terms of your predictions, this is more of a want question. It's the final season. The show is going to be done. It's over. There's no more show. What's something you want to happen or would like to see happen before Killjoys is done?
I want Fancy to be a main fucking character.
Oh, Rachel, that's so sweet of you. I would love a new opening credits sequence. I would love the Sci-Fi Channel original logo to go away.
I've given up on those things.
And now that I'm out, I will own everyone.
We are going to return after a little bit of a break. We will return to talk about the 5th season premiere episode. Where we left off with is everyone is in a new
I don't know the name
situation.
of this episode.
No, you don't. You don't know the name of this episode. So where we left off is we just have to understand that some time has passed. The characters are in a new situation in life.
But we're back in Old Town.
And the lady is loose and she is running amok. The next episode, Rachel, is called Run, Yala, Run. Which, of course, is a play on Run, Lola, Run.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
That's the name of the movie. So,
yeah, not Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that too. Run, Forrest, run. Well, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Yes. So, you've given your thoughts on what could be happening in the season, but what do you think could be happening
I
in the
think
premiere?
Anila is going to be on the run.
But she's not a Yala.
No. I think
We
it's
do have
good.
another Yala.
I think it's going to be a misdirection. I think Anila is going to be on the run to Yelena. I also want to say that Delcia and Jack will not appear on screen. I think that Pre is going to appear because he wasn't there at the end because Dutch and Johnny are running the Royal.
We saw Garrett.
I think we are going to see into the factory that is causing the green smoke, but not understand what is actually being produced. I think we might follow Johnny to work.
We didn't see Zeph either at the end.
True.
What do you think she could be up to?
I think she's working for the new version of the company.
Okay, nice. And what about Turin? Poor guy selling food, looking homeless. We didn't see Fancy either, actually.
No.
What are Fancy's like in this new world?
He's got to be a Killjoy still, right?
Well, Davin's still a Killjoy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you say gotta. We don't know. I mean, Turin's no longer in charge, so topsy-turvy world. But
what if Fancy's in charge of the rack?
oh, wouldn't that be the best?
No, because he's still, and he's still the designated asshole.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best. Well, how much do you feel from what the tease of what you got? How much do you feel like the characters still have their personality? Or is it just that their circumstances have changed? Because at the end of the episode, we see Dutch is very different. We see Johnny, but there's also lots of them that's the same.
Yeah, I feel like the heart is going to be the same.
Okay. And that is all of your predictions?
Yes.
Well, thank you for letting us know. How about you tell everyone where they can find us and how they can support the podcast?
They can find us on the social medias under yumyumpod or yumyumpodcast. Patreon is yumyumpodcast, where you can get so many excellent extras.
Material early. We have a community Discord. But if you don't have the means to support the podcast financially, you could always rate and review, leave a comment. It greatly helps us out, and we would just like it. You can find us on all of the social medias. Follow us on there. We post on there fairly regularly. But other than that, it's time for us to leave, Rachel. It's time for us to go, or else the spiders will crawl into our mouths and go into our brains. And you wouldn't want that, would you?
No, I like my amygdala the way that it is.
Bye.